What a BMW championship it was for Mark Leishman. 23 under, ties the lowest score to par in the tournament history. It's his third career win and second this season. Moves inside the top 15 in the world. Here's Mark Leishman in his own words.
When the pressure got put on that back nine by Rosie, it was, I reacted with birdies.
Rose, what a day on the greens.
I just thought if I kept trying to make birdies without trying to do anything stupid, that hopefully it'd be enough to hold him off, and managed to do it. Felt like I hit a decent wedge shot on 15, and it just didn't react how I thought it might have. So to make that was kind of a bonus, and then hit a really good tee shot on 16 that finished in the rough. Good second shot.
There you go. That was beautifully played.
I'd say that was a little bigger than the one on 15, just because it gave me that, I guess it was 4-shot buffer at the time. So, you got to do something pretty drastically wrong to lose a 4-shot lead with 2 to play. Having one win in 8 years, it's hard to imagine winning twice in 1 year, and being 2 big events like they were. So it's really set me up for next week, firstly, but for next year as well. So just very excited to have won.
Wire to wire just does not happen often in the FedEx Cup playoffs. This becomes just the 4th instance in which a player led Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and ultimately held the trophy on Sunday. A huge part of Mark Leishman, besides the putting, was the incredible driving display he put on all week long. Here's Michael Breed with more on Leish off the tee.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I was down in Australia last week and ran into Mark Leishman's coach, Dennis McDade. And Dennis was really kind in what he shared with the things that he and Mark work on. Now, Mark is from a very windy part of Australia, and he tends to get a little bit steep in the downswing. And what happens is that when he gets steep, his arms and hands get really close into his body this way. He doesn't have any room to move through. And so what happens is he moves up in that motion. And because of his hip situation, it's a little bit tight. It's very difficult for him to clear, and he has a difficult time getting the ball to cooperate properly. He tends to get a little bit hand activity, and he gets a little bit of face rotation. The ball starts going in different directions. So what he told me was he wants to make sure that Mark has some width both in the backswing and in the downswing. He likes to feel like, and he wants Mark to feel, and this is a very abstract thought, which is why I like it so much, he wants to feel like his hands are as wide or as far away from his chest consistently the whole way. So he goes back into the backswing wide, and then he stays wide in the downswing. And what happens when he stays wide in the downswing is now his body can move through properly and consistently. He has a little bit of a twist in that lead foot. But as all that stuff starts to happen, he starts to be able to generate some real clubhead speed. His clubhead speed's gone up, and consistency with the shots. That's what Dennis tells me, and I'm telling you, it's working well for Mark. Back to you, Ryan.
Time now for the Comcast Business Edge. Mark Leishman enters the Tour Championship 4th in FedEx Cup points. We know he can win the FedEx Cup with a victory at East Lake. Tripp, what gives him the edge to win it all this weekend?
Well, we look at Mark Leishman and compare to a couple of the past champions that have won the FedEx Cup. We know it's important to be in the top 5. Check mark for Mark Leishman. But I want to compare it to a guy who won it a couple of years ago in 2014, a guy who rode a hot putter. Now, Leishman is absolutely putting brilliantly, and Billy Horschel did exactly that. He led the field in strokes gained putting at the BMW, and then he went on to make a ton of putts. Again, 4 putts outside of 20 feet at the Tour Championship, and he was the guy holding $10 million. We saw that on display last week at Conway Farms. Mark Leishman, well, he made, guess what, 4 putts outside of 20 feet, and for the 7th time in playoff history, won an event by 5 or more strokes, courtesy of that hot putter. Now, Mark Leishman's iron game, very consistent this year. Part of the reasons why he's had so many top 10s and now a multiple winner this season on the PGA Tour. I like Leishman and that hot putter and the parallels to Billy Horschel and how he got hot and rode the putter for $10 million. Look out for Mark Leishman this week at the Tour Championship.
Thanks, Tripp. That's the Comcast Business Edge. The PGA Tour announced on Monday the implementation of a new integrity program that will begin next year in order to protect its competitions from potential outside influences related to gambling. Although the Tour has prohibited gambling for years, the new policy will now include players, their support teams, tournament personnel, and the entire Tour staff. The Tour also announced that it will monitor betting via a system which now tracks betting real time, created by Genius Sports, a London-based firm focused on data integrity. Still to come on Golf Central, the playoffs have not disappointed. Straight ahead, why the best is still to come. Plus, Phil Mickelson, never afraid to take a chance. We take a look back at the best moments from FedEx Cup playoff history.